if you go from upstate New York, Highway trying to cross over into Canada, cross over this bridge, there's an area called Thousand Island Lakes. And there's a bed that's on a boat. I mean, to the grocery store, to the gas station, parking area where you can get your car and navigate. In winter time, all you see are the air pieces, smoke coming out of it. It's just something out of a movie. It is very, very good. City attorney, one of the assistant city attorneys, is a dear friend of mine, Tony Jackson. He's been there for years. I've known him 20-something years. He's African American. He used to go to school every day on a little every day to school. Mom, bye, Dad, and he'd have his book bag, the boat, and he'd walk to school, which was right there on the second. Every day. I said, that's a cool thing. I said, you must have been an anomaly. You're black. Catch him up. Everyone got along. They thought I was from the
No, you can go about 40.
Good evening. Does everyone have their mics on? We're going to get started with the August 27th, 2024 Daytona Beach Shores City Council meeting. Sherry, can you take a roll, please?
Mayor Miller? Here. Vice Mayor Politis?
Here.
Commissioner Carr?
Here.
Commissioner Thomas?
Here.
Commissioner Dembinski?
Here.
Thank you. Reverend Bob?
I invite you to stand as you're able and share in this invocation. O gracious God of all seasons, we come to you tonight as summer is winding down and with some wishful thinking that perhaps the days are getting a little bit cooler. Children are back in school. The buses are running, the teachers are frantically preparing classrooms, and here we are tonight in these chambers with Labor Day approaching. So we lift to you with thanksgiving all those who serve this city as their vocation and their work. We thank you for the gifts they bring to each job that they hold. We thank you for those who work in public safety to keep our city and its citizens safe. And we pray that for each of these who give time and talent and effort to this city, that you would allow them to experience the thanksgiving of grateful people, grateful citizens, and that you would return them each day to their homes safely and to their families with a sense of gratitude for them and for the work that they do and the sacrifices they make. Be amongst us in these chambers this evening. Allow your grace, your goodwill, and your guidance to be upon the leaders we have chosen to make decisions on our behalf. We pray that you would be amongst the citizens of this city, encouraging us always to extend neighborly affection to one another and to extend hospitality to all those who would visit us in this city. Be with us and guard and guide us. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend Bob. This evening, we have no ceremonial items, presentations, or public notices, so we will now move on to the approval of minutes. First, we have the city commission meetings from July 23rd, 2024. Do I hear a motion to accept those minutes as is?
I so move.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on any of the minutes? If not, Sherry, can you take a roll on that, please?
Vice Mayor Plikus,
Yes.
Commissioner Economos,
Yes.
Commissioner Card,
Yes.
Commissioner Dembinski,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, thank you. Next, we are going to move on to the city commission workshop minutes. Those were also from July 23rd, 2024. Do I have a motion to accept those minutes?
Also move.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on those workshop items? Not. Sherry, can you take a roll on that, please?
Commissioner Economos,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Plikus,
Yes.
Commissioner Card,
Yes.
Commissioner Dembinski,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, thank you. On our consent agenda this evening, we have 6 items. Do I hear a motion to accept all 6 items without pulling any of them?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion on any of the 6 items? If not, Sherry, can you take a roll on that, please?
Commissioner Dembinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Card,
Yes.
Commissioner Economos,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Plikus,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, thank you. Okay, now we are going to move on to what would have been a quasi-judicial hearing, and this would have been a site plan at all aboard storage. I understand it is going to be postponed. Attorney Waters, do we still need to read anything on it, or can we just do a postponement to a date certain?
Madam Mayor, if Stuart could just read the agenda item into the record, that way we could open the agenda item up, and then if the commission could take a vote to continue the item until next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This application is regular site plan RSP 120230048, the Shores Depot All Aboard Storage Interior Storage Facility to be located at 2616 South Atlantic Avenue. Madam Mayor, the city staff had identified a notice in issue with regards to this particular site plan application. The city's land development code spells out specific notice requirements that have to be met. Unfortunately, there was an error on the side of the applicant. They have concurred with that error, and they have agreed with staff to request a continuance to the next city council commission meeting, which would be on September 9th at 6 p.m. and that's a Monday.
Please make note, because of the school board, this is the one meeting a year that we do have on a Monday. So as our director said, it is September 9th, which is Monday at 6 p.m. So do we actually need a vote?
Yes, Madam Mayor, please vote to continue to the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Do I hear a motion to continue to September 9th?
I so move.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Okay. And can you take a roll, Sherry, on that?
Vice Mayor Plikus,
Yes.
Commissioner Dembinski,
Yes.
Commissioner Card,
Yes.
Commissioner Economos,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes, thank you. So now that meeting will be postponed until September 9th. Thank you. Next, we're going to move on to old business, and that is ordinance 2024-20, service use charge liens for unpaid bills. Attorney Waters, can you read that for us, please?
Certainly, Madam Mayor, this is ordinance 2024-20, an ordinance of the city of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, relating to sewer service, amending the municipal code of ordinances, Appendix G, Land Development Code, Section 12-4.32, entitled Service Use Charge, providing for the amendment of lien for unpaid bills to be updated from 120 days to 60 days or $2,000, whichever occurs first, to protect the city of Daytona Beach Shores from utility write-offs, providing for legislative findings of intent, providing for implementing administrative actions, providing for a savings provision, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Director Irwin?
Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Lori Irwin, Finance Director. This is the second reading of this ordinance, and ordinance 2024-20. What it does is it allows the city, rather than doing the current code states that we have to wait 120 days prior to notifying a utility billing account that they're in arrears, and then we have to give them 30 days to pay us before we can lien the property. Now, with that, the shore is unique where we don't have the water, so we have to rely on the city of Port Orange and the city of Daytona Beach to give us our consumption readings for our water to bill out our sewer. Those readings, we don't get them until after they bill them. So now you're at a 45 to a 60-day period after they've actually had their consumption. So add that to your 120 days, well, actually 120 plus the 30, you're looking at 190 days, over half a year, before we're able to lien property. And so what this allows us to do is that within either 60 days of unpaid invoices or over $2,000, because we have commercial accounts, which 60 days, it can be in the tens of thousands of dollars that is owed the city. So this allows us to actually notify them within the 60 days or $2,000 or more in 60 days. Then it gives them 30 days, so you're talking 90 days, which is half the time of what is currently given to them.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for our finance director? Do I hear a motion to accept ordinance 2024-20?
Also move.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Do we have any further discussion before we take a vote? Sherry, can you take a vote, please, on 2024-20?
Commissioner Economos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Politis?
Yes.
Commissioner Card?
Yes.
Commissioner Dembinski?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you. Okay, next, we are going to go on to Resolution 2024-12, certifying election results. Attorney Waters, can you read that for us, please?
Madam Mayor, this is Resolution 2024-12, a resolution of the City Commission of Daytona Beach Shores, Florida. Of Daytona Beach Shores, Volusia County, Florida, declaring the results of the primary election for the charter referendum held on August 20th, 2024, declaring the city shall be the judge of the election subject to review by the courts and providing an effective date. And Madam Mayor, for the record, the question was, shall the Daytona Beach Shores City Charter be amended to increase the number of terms the mayor and city commissioners may serve on the city commission from 2 to 4 years to 3 4-year terms? The results are 476 yes, 849 no. Referendum failed, Madam Mayor.
Okay, and the residents have spoken. So do I hear a motion to accept Resolution 2024-12?
Also move.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Sherry, can you take a roll on that, please?
Vice Mayor Politis?
Yes.
Commissioner Economos?
Yes.
Commissioner Card?
Yes.
Commissioner Dembinski?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you. Okay, next we're going to go on to consideration of employees' raises. So this was something that was brought up at our last meeting. We didn't have any prior notice of this, so we had our finance director do some quick calculations. And since that time, if you could come back up, Director Irwin. So would you explain to us, I know we had thought at that time we would talk about either a merit or $1 was already proposed. I think we had it on the board here that it would be $1.30 in October, $1.30 in April, if that's the option we so choose. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, great.
And what we're looking at, a cost here, if you just did the merit that we currently have figured in, which was 1.71 to 4.84%, plus the $1.30 an hour in October and then another $1.30 in April, we are looking at a total increase to the budget of $63,900.
What was that? I'm sorry,
$40,900 I included, bear with me. So the budget would go from $21,223,700 to $21,264,600.
I'm sorry, was that the merit or the $1.30?
That was with the $1.30. That was leaving the merit where it is
Now, okay.
currently being proposed.
And I know we had kicked both of them around. in my opinion, and I want to hear from everybody up on the dais today, I think that the $1.30 is a very clear cut, know what I'm getting, $1.30 now and $1.30 in April. And I just want to say, I wholeheartedly support these. We have such wonderful people in our city, and I just want to make sure I understand this is from just an entry-level position up until a director position. This is across the board that everyone would get this?
Correct.
Okay, all right. I think it's very important to value our employees, and I think when, we see them on the street, we try to say, good job, but still, as everybody knows, it's very hard to buy groceries and gasoline. So on top of saying we value you, we appreciate you, I'm hoping this shows them too. I want to retain the great people we have. So that's what I have to say about it. I'm going to start with Commissioner Dubinsky. Do you have anything to add to this $1.30?
Does everybody get this raise?
We don't. We
No, I
don't.
wasn't looking at you. Mayor, I know we don't. I was looking at someone sitting over there making, I'm just kidding.
A penny more than you do now.
Right. Yeah. We have fabulous employees. I don't think there's any question of it. I see all of them sitting out there grinning. But anything we can do to make them content with staying in the shores and anything we can do to make their lives better, I'm all for that. Thank you.
Commissioner Card.
I think we should go ahead and approve it. I think that we do have a good staff, and I think they'll be appreciative of it, so I'm on board.
Okay, great. Commissioner Economist?
I agree 100%. We're blessed to have the folks that we have, and we want to do everything we can to keep them and bring great people in as well, so absolutely.
Vice Mayor?
I really wish that whoever wasn't present for the last meeting to hear the comments we all made. But, you balance the residents and the burden on them through their increase in the millage or taxes, but also you have to balance, you want to run an efficient city, and you want to make sure that you retain your good employees, that you attract good candidates to become employees, so you do that balance. But the comments we made today, of course, and tonight, I remember the last time, putting food on the table has become a lot more difficult. Retaining good people has become a lot more difficult. Whether you're, whatever departments we all have, everybody has consequences. And so I remember somebody left because they couldn't afford to drive from out of their jurisdiction to come in here every day, and they got another job closer to their home. We lost that employee. And so I want to retain, attract good ones, and I 100% endorse this, and I'm hoping in the future we'll continue to do it even more. But I'm glad that we all came in a common consensus, and I hope that everyone who's in the back and everyone who can hear, we acknowledge you and we appreciate you, and we hope that you will stay until you're ready to retire, and we thank you for your service.
Thank you. And so are we in consensus, though, that this is what we want to go forward with, was the $1.30 opposed to the merit, so they know, about what they're getting? So it'd be $1.30 in October, $1.30 in April, and increase it too. So.
Madam Mayor.
Oh, I need a motion?
It seems like you have a consensus, so a motion would be appropriate.
Okay, I would like a motion if
Madam
you.
Mayor, can I just ask for some clarification? Because I want to make sure that we're getting the right direction. The original proposal was to do the standard merit, and staff asked for $1 and $1. And I just want to make sure that this motion is to still do the standard merit, but $1.30 and $1.30.
And that is my understanding, what I.
just wanna make sure
No,
that's the
I know, I'm
motion.
glad you brought that up, because it was.
Over and above the standard, yes.
Over and above the standard, so, all right.
Thank you for clarifying.
Certainly, so I need a motion to accept that we will stay with the standard merit, and that we will change the $1 that was proposed to $1.30.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second? Okay. Again, I don't know how many employees we have here or how many are listening, but each one of us, you can tell, we wholeheartedly appreciate everything you do. We value you, and we hope that this adds a little bit to the burden that you have of trying to raise a family and put food on a table, but have have a little bit of a struggle, and I hope this helps, and that you'll continue to be a valuable employee in Daytona Beach Shores. So Sherry, can you take a rope?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Dembinski?
Yes?
Commissioner Card?
Yes.
Commissioner Conlon?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Platis?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you.
Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, as you can hear, I would like to, I think they already took that to be the first to thank you very much. Our employees here are very, very thankful for all that you do and that you're behind them and support them the way that you do.
Thank you so much, appreciate that, thank you. Laura, I might need some clarification on this if you want to just stay next. So something was on the table with the city manager's salary. We found something that the last time that our city manager received an increase, do you have that to read? Who has that paper that says about how your treatment?
Oh, it's right in the agenda item.
Okay, all right. So the city manager is included in any raises that came along. So we were going to look at something something separate from this. Is it my understanding now that we've approved that $1.30 and $1.30, our city manager will be included in that? So this is kind of a moot point with the salary increase.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
According to his contract, he's eligible.
He would be eligible for that. All right, so I just want to make sure that everybody understands. We were going to look at something separately. About, I think it's almost 2 years ago, our city manager did get an increase from the salary he was hired in at. So that was just a one-time thing, but now he will be included in the $1.30 that all employees will get. Is everyone, I guess I need a motion to accept that and then a discussion.
Make the motion.
Thank you.
I'll
Second?
second.
All right, any discussion on anything that, we have any question on how his salary treatment will be?
Just as long as it echoes what we discussed in our workshop and then the last city commission meeting. So the dollar amount doesn't change for our city manager.
Correct.
Okay. So
Okay, is that your understanding too, Director? Okay, all
Yes,
right.
unless you change that.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Can we take a vote on that, please? Sherry?
Commissioner Card?
Yes.
Commissioner Conlon?
Yes.
Commissioner Dembinski?
Yes?
Vice Mayor Platis?
Yes.
Mayor Miller?
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Director Irwin, thank you for those last two items, appreciate it. And next, we're going to go on to the approval of the new city manager evaluation forms. So we looked over several forms that are out there. You know, this is what I did several years ago, looking at these. The one that we were currently using asked the same question over and over. For those of you that weren't there, we had a workshop just to try to streamline this a little bit more. One of the things that I want to make sure that we do, that when we are doing an evaluation, that we have some bullet points there that our city manager will know, again, what we want him to stop doing, continue to do, and start doing. And I think that this form takes care of that. So you see our city manager evaluation form starting on page 192 up until 195. That's the one that we thought that we liked the best. Do I hear a motion to accept this city manager, and it will be used effective immediately?
Also, oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
Also move.
Okay,
I'll second.
thank you. Okay, any discussion on that form? Anything that you'd like to see changed?
I just have a question for the manager. Kurt, I'm assuming you've looked this over?
Yes.
Is this how you'd like to be
Yeah, it's
judged?
acceptable to me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, Sherry, can you take a roll on that, please?
Commissioner Conlon?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Platis?
Yes.
Commissioner Card?
Yes.
Commissioner Dembinski?
Yes?
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you. Just want to clarify too, is this something, Sherry, you usually send out around the May, June timeframe and request it to be back by July 1st? Is that the correct timeframe?
It's more end of April,
Okay,
and we want it for June.
Okay, all right, okay, so look over this Form B. You know, I don't want to tell you how to fill it out, but it's so much easier if you write down things as they're going along in the year instead of the day before, and knowing that these are the things that we're going to be evaluating him on. I think that should help, so thank you very much. All right, next we're going to move on to consideration of moving an alternate member to a regular status. So we understand that one of our regular members, Jenny Groot, how do you say the last name?
Not.
Not submitted her resignation. She is moving out to another state. So we had the one vacancy to fill. Is there anything else we have to do on this, Attorney Waters? Just give the background information?
If you so agree, you could vote to fill her as a permanent position, and we'll swear her in at the next meeting. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. So what we did ever since this commission has taken over, I think the past practice was that they just assign people to the boards. What we have been doing since we took over, Vice Mayor, 6 years ago, interviewing people. Why do you want to be on this board? What background do you have? And we do ask them the question. Most times when we put them on only as an alternate, but we do say if there's another opening that comes up, would you be interested in that? So right now we currently have two alternates, Mr. Guy Desai and Mr. Chris Pollard. And what we traditionally have done is the one that's been there the longest, we ask them to go on as a permanent. And Sherry, I understand you did reach out. They're both interested. And because Mr. Desai has been an alternate with us the longest, he would be the one that we would put on. And he's agreeable to that?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, do I have a motion to accept our alternate, Mr. Guy Desai, going from an alternate member to a regular status for our Planning and Zoning Board?
I so move.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? And Attorney Waters, so you would want him here the next time, or would you do it at the next Planning and Zoning?
The next planning and zoning will
Okay,
swear.
or you would swear him in. Okay, Sherry, can you take a roll on that, please?
Vice Mayor Platis?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Carr?
Yes.
Commissioner Jazinski?
Yes.
Mayor Middleton?
Yes, thank you. Okay, next, we're going to go on to the discussion of Andronopolis Park naming rights. And Stuart, can you give us a background on this, or is it our city manager? Okay, city manager, if you could do that, please.
Yes, we had a request to sell back the naming rights to the city of Andronopolis Park. And there's a history with that, and to kind of get into the legalities, I'm going to turn it over to Paul Waters, the attorney. He'll kind of go through a little quick synopsis of the legal parts of it.
Madam Mayor, if I may?
Certainly, thank
I'll
you.
be very brief. In 2005, phone's ringing.
Andy's got it.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, Madam Mayor. In 2005, the city allegedly offered Mr. Andronopolis's company $2.178 million for the park. Unfortunately, the city was only able to afford $2 million. He agreed to accept the lesser amount under the condition that the city named the park his last name. So the transaction occurred. However, the city did not name the park his last name. Instead, the city named the park the Sea Spray Park, which, of course, litigation ensued. We ended up settling the case by, I think we offered $42,500 as a settlement payment, and we ended up naming the park Andronopolis Park. So now Mr. Andronopolis appears he would like to sell the name back to the city. So this is an item just for discussion.
I don't really know where to start, and the amount that he was asking for was $250,000 to sell the name back?
That's my understanding.
All right.
Madam Mayor, if you like, I'll be more than happy to speak.
Okay, I know you can speak, but I mean, I just think that it's utterly ridiculous. But go ahead, I know, you can.
I've known Johnny Andronopoulos since he married here, and Johnny's a personal friend. However, I don't think that the city has any interest in purchasing the name rights to the park for the sum of $250,000. I think the taxpayers would be extremely upset with that decision. However, I think at a minimum, if we want, and I'm just making a suggestion, you offer it through the Pelican, through whatever legal means Attorney Waters recommends, an opportunity for anyone to purchase the name rights to have their name on the park, whether it be if we put conditions, it would have to be a resident or a business entity within the city of Daytona Beach Shores, and throw it out there. If somebody's interested and they make an offer, then that would be up to Mr. Andronopoulos to accept it or not. I don't think he's expecting $250,000, but he would hope that maybe the city would be inclined to make an offer. I won't participate in that decision-making process because I'm just too close to Mr. Andronopoulos. All I was the messenger, and I immediately informed the city manager, and then I also had a conversation with the city attorney. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Okay, any other comments? I'm not willing to pay anything. You know, I cannot take a penny from the residents to pay for a name. But I certainly will be open to hearing the rest of our commission. Commissioner Dubinsky?
Well, actually, Mike has a great idea about maybe if we wanted to have the park name something else if some sponsor stood up. But I was just thinking, we would be in the middle of a negotiation between a private citizen and another private citizen or business as to what they want to name the park. And if it would be pretty hard for us to set out guidelines where you couldn't name it something. How would we stop that from happening if we didn't want the name? And I don't know what it could be, but I just see some pitfalls in that, even though I think it's a great idea. But quite frankly, I remember the whole argument, the whole thing that happened with Andronopoulos Park when we built the park, and so does a few of the guys sitting back there. But it's been Andronopoulos Park since it opened, and I'm not unhappy having it that way. And I certainly wouldn't want to pay more taxes to change the name. And I wouldn't want the park called something, I could make up a name, but.
Hooters Haven?
Well, I was thinking something worse, but maybe, yeah. I just wouldn't. And how would we, I mean, we have a couple fabulous attorneys here, but I don't know how we'd stop being in the middle of that. That's just my opinion.
Mr. Card?
I don't think it's good, I don't think the residents would agree to spend anything on a name. So that's my personal opinion.
Okay. Commissioner Economos?
I agree with Commissioner Dembinski. I think we would be asking for trouble if we were the mediator or facilitator, or even if we were independent, but we were forced to live with a name that wasn't acceptable to us. So I applaud the Vice Mayor for his idea, but I think there's too many pitfalls for the city.
Okay. Thank you, Vice Mayor, for the suggestion, but I think we'll take a vote now. So the vote, can I have a motion on? Commissioner Dubinsky, do you want to state your motion?
I'll make a motion that we don't go any further with this negotiation.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All right. Anything else we'd like to add? If not, can you take a vote on this, please, Sherry?
Commissioner Dembinski?
Yes.
Commissioner Carr?
Yes.
Commissioner Economos?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Plius?
I prefer to abstain, just I want to avoid any personal conflict or any appearance of impropriety.
Mayor Miller?
Yes, thank you.
I'll fill out the form.
Okay, we are going to move on to the city attorney's report. Any comments that you have for us? Attorney Waters?
Nothing this evening, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Can I follow up? Where are we at on the opioid legislation that we had, or is that still ongoing?
I think it's still ongoing. There's been a settlement, there's been a couple of settlements in bankruptcy, I believe, and they've made some distributions. I'm not sure specifically where we are in the city. I can find that answer for you.
Okay, great. If you could be the next meeting, thank you. City Manager Swartzlander, what do you have for us?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Director Irwin stole some of my thunder earlier, but I'd like to echo her comments about the employees. First of all, I'd like to the employees, let's say thank you for all that you do. They work hard day in and day out, and I think it's a well-deserved raise. I know it still has to be approved through the budget process, but I know they're grateful for that. I've been approached by some when they heard about it after the workshop. And as Commissioner Politis said, costs are going up, and they've been hit hard as well. So thank you. And thank you for mine as well. Moving along, a couple meetings ago, we talked about implementing the electronic software for the agenda, and we have that and are ready to go. To train everybody, we thought it would be best to have a workshop. So I'd like to ask the commission when we would like to do that. We would be ready to go as early as our first meeting in September. If you want to do the workshop before that meeting, but it's up to the will of the commission.
How long would it take?
It's probably going to take longer to get you all logged in than it will to train you on it, I think.
Okay, so let's have a
Yeah,
work.
speak for yourself.
So I'd like to propose a 5 o'clock workshop, so an hour earlier on September 9th. I always like when we take a hard stop break at 5:45, so Chris can get everything set up for the next meeting. We've run into issues previously, so that would give us a good 45 minutes. So I'd like to propose 5 o'clock on September 9th. Is that agreeable?
5 o'clock?
Yes.
Sure.
Is that agreeable?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. And then before each of you, there's a paper that lists where we are at on all of our dune walkovers. We have some deadlines in there, or estimated completion dates. The first 5 are hopefully to be completed in a couple of days by August 29th. So that would be St. Martin, Bella Vista, Palma Bella, Marbella, and Ocean Villas.
Can you repeat that again? I did want you to repeat that so everybody out in the audience knows where they're at.
So we're anticipating, with some exceptions of handrails that are on order, and maybe a couple small pieces of fencing that are still outstanding, but that would be St. Martin, Bella Vista, Palma Bella, Marbella, and Ocean Villas. And then,
And those would, August 29th is what we're saying.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
And then the one located at the Opus, we're looking at, and also St. Croix, looking at September 27th. And these are estimates from our contractor. And then Fenari Park should be August 30th. And then November 1st would be Oceans Vistas, Emerald Shores, and Salina del Sol. And then St. Kitts is a little bit more, because that included a seawall or a rock revetment. It was what we chose to do. So the rock revetment is almost done. There's a permitting issue that we're working through with the county. The stairs are completed. But if you remember, we also had the contract with Mr. Cannon, the property owner to the north. He was using our park to access for his construction. So we're working with his contractor to get the sidewalk. They had agreed to redo the sidewalk. They anticipate that being done by September 9th. And then once that is done, we will work on the irrigation and landscaping and finalizing that. And we have an estimated date of October 11th for completion of that.
So it sounds like by, and I'm allowing a little more time by the November, by Thanksgiving, all of these you anticipate will be complete?
Yes, by November 1, they should all be open and complete.
And may I ask why the top ones are priorities and the second column are non-priorities? What distinguishes between the two?
I'm going to ask Mr. Cruz to answer that one.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. The ones in the top were listed as priorities because they didn't have any access at all. There wasn't a possibility, there was seawall damage, and there wasn't a possibility of putting temporary stairs there. That was the general rule.
Okay, thank you, Director.
And if I can just add, we're still in turtle season, so this is all subject to turtles.
Okay, great list here. Thank you for all the hard work. Is most of this being out to a third party? Is it our people doing it? Can you tell me a little bit more about who's doing this construction?
So we actually have two different contractors doing the two different set of doing walkovers. East Coast Marine Construction, which is doing the St. Kitts Park, is also doing the last 6 stairs as well. Some of the finishing touches, but with regards to St. Kitts Park, the East Coast Construction contractor, their only job was to install the stairs and to do the rock revetment, and our staff are the ones who are actually going to do the sod, to do the landscaping and things of that nature, with the exception of the irrigation, which we're going to contract out, and also, as the city manager mentioned, the corner of the sidewalk from east to west.
Great, thank you. And City Manager, I know you have extra things to talk about, but Deborah, will you come up and tell us on how you think it's going at St. Kitts, what it's looking like? Oh, sure. Okay, again, I guess St. Kitts, but state your name.
Deborah Taylor, 2855 South Atlantic, St. Kitts. I think the guys did a great job, I will tell you, the contractors. We had a few hiccups, but they quickly addressed those hiccups, and they've been very respectful. They've tidied up at the end of each day. We asked them to put a fence up each day to keep the people, because obviously we don't have a fence yet until you finish. They were kind enough to honor that commitment. They were really good. We fed them one day, and they were real happy. People do well when you feed them.
Right.
And so I have the highest regards for the guys. I mentioned to Stuart earlier that I do have some concerns. People from the beach are still walking up on the property. They are getting out through Mr. Cannon's door, gate that's open. But, it is what it is. So.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
Yes,
I just wanted to
but
make
they've
sure.
done a great job.
All right, and City Manager, you can continue, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just had 2 other items. I was approached by a citizen living in a condo that would like to put a group together that would meet probably monthly, and they're looking for a space. And what they'd like to do is bring all the condos together. There's been a lot of changes for the condos in state statute with the SERS study, the budgeting piece. There's also training and education that they now have to undergo. There's record keeping, all these statutes have changed and impacted them dramatically. And he'd like to form a group and see if there's a need or a want to get together on a regular basis and talk about those things, have their CAMs there, not just one condo, but all of them coming together. And he asked if we'd be able to help market but not run those meetings. It wouldn't be a city-run thing.
Did they want to use
They wanted to use a space and then help us, or have us help them get the word out for that meeting. So I'm bringing that forward. I did something with all of our condos shortly after the hurricanes, and was told that was pretty helpful. So if this would be helpful to the condos, I'd like your blessing to go ahead and try and set that up and market that.
I guess my only question would be, if we're talking about condos, each one of them have a community room. Why is it they feel that they have to come to the city? I'm just wondering, how much city involvement there's going to be. And I just know how when you get a group of people together like that, there's a lot of misinformation that goes around. I don't want to take this responsibility for any misinformation that's out there.
I would. Let me address the first piece. The room, they're concerned that not all the rooms are that large. And if they want to hold it somewhere consistently, if they have that many people, we have a lot of condos here, so if they have that many If they're doing board member training, those kind of things as a group, they would need a larger space to do so. So that was kind of the discussion about why holding it at the city versus one of their rooms. I think there would probably be a staff member in attendance and either start the meeting with a disclaimer that the city is not here providing legal advice, as we have done at other meetings as well. But if there are questions about like the SIRS, if we have staff who can't answer that, such as our chief building official, we do a lot of outreach, and so I look at this as an outreach opportunity for that, to do exactly what you said, Madam Mayor, of getting the correct information out there.
And then my second concern on that, and I've been approached a couple of different times, that some people that do not have meeting rooms want to have their HOA meetings there somewhere on the property, and we've turned them down, or we've charged them. They were not able. Do I take it that we were going to offer this condo meeting for no charge?
That's what I'm asking.
Okay. Okay. That's the only other issue that I have, that, I understand. Did I understand, well, Nancy's not here, understand it correctly that HOA might have reached out that wanted to have a meeting here, but we were going to charge them. So I have a little bit of an issue maybe, on an HOA not charging them, and then this one not charging. So that would be one of my other concerns. I know what we did previously, you did was at the beginning of a disastrous, can everybody hear me in the back? Okay, a disastrous hurricane, and you did it, so we were trying to do a contiguous seawall, you put people together and did all that, and some of that we did in conjunction with the county. So, I think it's a great idea. I think I'd have to know a little bit more about it right now before I'd be able to say yes to it, but I certainly could hear from anyone else have any comments on it.
No, I agree with you. Let's sophisticate the idea first before we make a decision.
So can you bring it back, maybe if they can form a little bit more, how many people would be there? I could just see it, getting out of control with the different condos. I think it's a great idea that they're doing something. I wish we would have done something with a contiguous seawall when we tried to do that, and we wouldn't have all of this up and down. So I'm open to it coming back. I don't think I have enough information today to be able to say yes or no.
I will ask the citizen to kind of put something more formal together and see what they bring to you.
Maybe even, go out with the interest to the different condos and say, are you willing to commit? Would you do this? Would you send your CAM, your board president? So we know, again, how many people, how many condos are truly interested in doing this. So if you could bring us back a little bit more information, I think that would help us. Does anyone else have anything to add on that?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I wouldn't be opposed to that, but again, I don't disagree that there might be other things to look at. But I would ask the city attorney, are there any issues that you would see with that?
The only issue I see is you don't want the city giving legal advice to private citizens, so we don't want to own any of their decisions.
Could there be a kind of a waiver form at each meeting that's signed?
Certainly, if that's the decision, we could make a disclaimer. We could put a public notice out. We could put it however you like. We could get the message out that this is not the city's legal advice to your condo association.
You go back to your own condo HOA for that, because I think I'm having a feeling, to your point, that a lot of questions will be coming up about this new reserve study. And, we're in the middle. I was hoping that Governor DeSantis was going to have a special session. Now I'm understanding Speaker Pasadomas is kind of vetoing that idea. So, I'm not saying that that's going to happen. So, I can tell them they could really get down in the weeds. And then two, even this HRR, I give a broad overview that this additional $300,000 is available. There's some grants that are available, sand placement and all of that. I don't want to say you're eligible for it, you're not. I'm saying you apply, condo, you apply, and then you see if you get, so I think, Attorney Waters, there would be a lot of getting down into the weeds in here. So to Commissioner Economist's point, I want them to say, well, the city said, you know, we get this money, the city said that. On the surface, I think it's a great idea.
Madam Mayor, and I believe I know who the gentleman was. He approached me at one point, and I pointed him to Kurt. But I think one of the things that they wanted to accomplish with this, and the gentleman can actually come to, he's usually at the meetings, he can come and speak, is to form kind of a networking group as well. For instance, when we had the debates about seawalls, and I know we had many different folks in different condos, some were engineers, and they would kind of get together, and I think that's part of what they want to do as well. But I would ask Kurt if you could reach out to the gentleman and just ask him to come to the next meeting or a meeting in the future, and just to kind of maybe give us a little better idea of what exactly he wants to do.
Absolutely.
And if he wants to bring some other folks from other condominiums as well, that would be great.
But tell him we thank him for his interest in trying to do that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. You have one more item?
One more item. I just want to say I had the privilege and honor to attend and participate in the swearing-in ceremony of our new president of the Florida League of Mayors, Mayor Nancy Miller. It was an honor to be there, and so congratulations. She's our president.
It is such an honor to be able to, not only our city, but all of Volusia County. I want to take this opportunity that I have in the next year, since it's a statewide appointment, to be able to say this is what Volusia County advocate for them. Thank you again very much to my husband for holding the Bible. It was so special to have my husband in the back, that our family Bible, and then again to our city manager for swearing me in. It was a wonderful, wonderful ceremony, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we can go on to commission comments. There's something that I'm supposed to be reading, so I'll do that now. On September 21st, 2024, Volusia County and cities will participate in the Ocean Conservancy 39th International Coastal Cleanup. Residents are encouraged to participate in this event. If you are interested in volunteering, please contact Community Service Director Stuart Cruz, who will provide you with the relevant information, or visit the Volusia County International Coastal Cleanup Eventbrite website at www.volusia.org, and you can sign up for a location near you. Thank you. I don't really have any other comments right now. We are going to resume Coffee with the Mayor on September 11th. I've missed talking to everyone and getting your ideas. And Mike Chitwood, our sheriff, will be our guest there. Just want to tell you, I hear a lot of comments about, previously I saw a lot of red beach safety trucks, and I don't see them anymore. Sheriff Chitwood is going to be there, and he's responsible for the beach now, so you tell him. I used to see a lot of red, and I don't anymore, and he'll be able to respond to that. But he's a wonderful speaker. If you've never heard him speak, he's truly, truly very entertaining, and he'll tell you everything that's going on in the county right now. So make a point, again, September 11th, 10 a.m. We'll resume those again. And then I've asked our city director of finance to be at our October. We've done this for quite a few years. Bring your property tax bill. You should have that one by then. And Lori will be glad to go over the individual lines, what everything means, and you'll see exactly what comes to the county, what comes to the school, what comes to Daytona Beach Shore. So thank you for agreeing to that. Commissioner Dubinsky, what do you have for us this evening?
Actually, I have something for the next agenda.
Great.
I wouldn't mind making a few comments about it first, if that would be okay.
Sure.
For those of us who live in condos on the beach, which is quite a few people, and have had damage to their seawall, or actually had to build, not so much build a seawall, but had to fix their seawall, the county basically expects us, after our seawall is constructed, to put up vegetation and dune protection on the east side of the new seawall. The problem with that is the tides come right up to seawalls. I think probably for every condo that's on the ocean side. And by law, they can, when you put this in, it's quite an expensive proposition. When you put these protection, seagrass, whatever it is, in front of the seawall, and it gets washed away, you have to put it back, which obviously is going to be, the treasurer from my condo is here, and she's, obviously looking at, there's a lot of money. So the county has said, well, you don't really have to pay, you don't really have to do it. If you give us a certain amount of money as a, I don't want to use the word blackmail, but extortion, but if you give us a certain amount of money, we'll take the money and use it for other things to protect the beach. And that's very substantial also. And I feel that we pay a lot of taxes to build these beaches and to protect the beach. Our seawall in the condo I live in was there since the building was built 22 years ago, and the tide has always come up to the condo, and I don't see the point of even giving us the opportunity. I don't see any reason for us to put anything in front of that seawall except the sand that's there from the beach. I was hoping that Volusia County was going to take a stand and say, okay, you don't have to do this, but apparently they're continuing on this path. And I don't know what we as a council can do, but we have a tremendous amount of condos in the city, and quite frankly, I don't see why we should support the beach any more than we already do with our tax dollars. So, and that's why I said I wanted to speak about it. I'd like at least to have a discussion on this at the next agenda, and I would like to maybe ask Kurt if he could reach out to the county. I know we've tried to reach out to some of the county council people to get them to at least get in front of the county commission and say this is a little bit of overreach, and the extortion amount is a lot of money. Even it goes by so many feet, linear feet. It's a lot of money, and they promise that if you do this, they won't come back and ask for more. But definitely, if you plant the seagrass, they can. They say they won't, but they can come back and make you do it again. I just think it's unfair.
I have a couple comments I'd like to add to that. I think we see evidence of the 31 homes that use the rock revetment. They put sand there and they put vegetation, tiny little sticks, and a lot of it is gone. So to your point, you're exactly correct. I know our representative, Matt Reinhardt, is trying to do whatever he can to get this deferred or eliminated. I know we received a letter from your treasurer, and I asked city manager if he would reach out to Jessica Fentress to discuss that. So perhaps we could have Jessica at the next meeting, but can you share with us, and I know it's a little bit of a gray area and things might change, but can you share anything that Ms. Fentress was able to provide you?
Yes. I know as staff, they are looking at this issue. I'm not sure where the county council will end up on it, but they are looking at many options. You know, it's set to expire, I believe, December 31st, the deferral. And I know it's created some issues with permits, getting permits closed out, those kind of things, and they are aware of that and looking at it. All options, I think, are on the table of doing away with it, deferring it even longer. Some of that deferral will come into play with the sand restoration project, but that's only going to go so far up the beach. They can't say because they don't know how much it's going to cost in the end. So there will be properties that the county will actually take care of as they come north. But say they only get to
Sunglow.
Sunglow, yeah, as a common point. If they only get there, everything north of Sunglow is still going to be under this county ordinance for this requirement. So they are looking at that and what they can do. I'm not sure when that will be back before the county council for their actual discussion, but it will be in the not too distant future.
I'm sorry, Mayor.
Oh, no,
The last discussion we had, go ahead.
No, I was going to say too, the city manager and I have had several talks on this. So in the new HRR, There is one of the points in there that whatever sand you place on that side of the seawall, you can get reimbursed at 100%. But to your point, you can put that sand there, and if we have a king tide, that can be 15 minutes later that all of that is gone. So I think they have to realize that even though so the condo would have to pay for the sand, but then it would be reimbursed at 100%, is our understanding. We need to ask our attorney if that's the case. But, you know, Kurt and I saw evidence of this when, between Ian and Nicole, the Hawaiian placed, I can't even tell you how much sand. I mean, just dumped it all in, and Kurt and I went the next day and it was all gone. It just all washed away, so that could happen. But go on to your point.
Well, a deferment really doesn't do us any good. It just,
Differs.
still there. We've just received a communication from Jessica, I don't know her last name. Tris, who basically, everything that I just said, except she didn't use the word extortion, was what they said the county wants to do. There was nothing in her letter to us or her email to us that suggested that the county was thinking about not charging us or not making us do that. Maybe things have changed, but we just got this maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
So City Manager, do you think we can request that either Jessica or Ben Bartlett come to our next meeting?
I can ask.
Okay. Okay, so, because, you know, that's coming from the horse's mouth.
Well.
That they should know.
Be
All
nice.
right, but thank you.
Sure.
I understand, and that is true. Almost every one of our condos on the beach needed some sort of repair, but everybody would be required to do this dune with the vegetation.
Everybody.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. Commissioner Card?
I have nothing.
Okay. Commissioner Economos?
No comments.
Okay. Vice Mayor?
You're not gonna like what I gotta say.
TPO?
No, that's tomorrow.
Oh.
I respect you, and you're an intelligent woman, but I'm gonna give you a little bit of my 2 cents.
Okay.
I wouldn't let that I let that sleeping dog lie. I wouldn't bring anyone from the county yet.
Okay.
You know what I want? I want Mr. Waters to give me a copy of that county ordinance, and I want to see what it really says. And then let's talk about it in the next meeting. Commissioner Dubinsky has a great point. And then let's see what the county ultimately does, because they very well may not do anything. They may not take it off the books, but they may not have any enforcement actions to see what's going to happen with the balance of our storm season. And then maybe go forward with something to bring the county here. But I want to see what that ordinance says, because there's always a gray area in any kind of legislation. And of course, the impracticality of installing this vegetation because you don't have time for it to grow because the county has failed to put enough of sand there to make it high enough. So it's, in this part of the beach, you'll never be able to allow it to be high enough and long enough to grow the vegetation. Now, up in Flagler, as I've been riding my motorcycle north, it's an amazing, the overwhelming transition of what they've done by installing the dunes and then having a 6 to 8 foot drop with a dune walkover and now installing the vegetation. I hope and I pray that we'll survive that storm season. Of course, they're putting the installation of the concrete barriers to protect the actual road, but it's gonna be interesting. So I wouldn't, in my opinion, I wouldn't want to bring someone from the county here and ask them, okay, what are you gonna do? Leave them alone. Let's figure out what our options are and let's see what they're gonna ultimately do, because if we do succumb to a bad storm, and again, we have a lot of replenishing we have to do, let's see. Plus, it's an election cycle, and so we'll see if there's gonna be a transition in leadership with a different agenda and different priorities. Again, that's my opinion.
Okay, no,
And I meant it with all the respect for you.
No, I'm fine with that too. I still ask that if anyone on the commission has any conversations with our district representative, Matt Reinhardt, that's representing us and represents all of the coast, you know, to let them know how we feel. And he has voted with us, he understands, and I would like his support going forward. But if that's, I'm fine with that. waiting, especially since we have at least till December 31st, but in all reality, it's going to be a lot longer than that.
I think so too.
Okay, all right, so thank you for bringing that up. We'll talk about it a little bit more on the agenda, but I know we have the backing of our county council representative. Anything else that we want to add for the next agenda? Any items at this time besides what Commissioner Dubinsky brought up? Are you looking at me there?
I am, Madam Mayor. If I could clarify what Commissioner Politis requested. You're asking for a copy of the ordinance. May I also suggest perhaps the legislative history, maybe some meeting minutes, and give you a full picture of
Good idea.
everything.
Legislative intent helps a lot.
So,
It's a good argument point.
we'll bring maybe next meeting. Would you like that next meeting?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate it. Okay, if there is no other items for the next agenda, Tammy, am I missing anything with the, anything coming up? No concerts, nothing other than that? Okay, thank you.
End of September is the next concert.
Okay, and thank you for being here today. And I do want to bring up too, we have at a high level, we're trying, as you heard, Krabby Joe's has opened back up again. And we always had a fantastic end of summer bash, and we're kicking around the idea. Now, the only thing, it would be right before the concert. And it's so hard to get dates. Have we firmed that up or not yet? Are we waiting for Nancy to come back?
It's pretty firm. We haven't advertised it yet, but we're pretty firm on doing that, and I don't remember the date offhand.
September 27th.
27.
Did we reach out, did Kim get with DJ Dave to see if, no, we're gonna wait for, no, okay. All right, so anyway, that's a tentative date, put it on your calendar, and before I adjourn, I always ask for, is there any audience comments, even though you didn't sign up, and Ed, come forward.
Madam Mayor, I do have one more comment.
Okay, all right, and when Ed is done?
Ed Offerman, Demucci Twin Towers, 3311 South Atlantic. I wasn't going to make comments tonight, but then a couple of things came up at council meeting that I wanted to comment on the council meeting tonight, so I'll give you the information. I think you have my information, correct, Cindy?
Okay.
Anyway, first thing I wanted to mention, I don't see any city employees. I'm not sure if that's.
Yep.
So, this is.
That is our supervisor of, is it sewers? Okay, that is Ryan, and that is Alex Schwab.
Okay, you're taking my time.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. The stimulating discussion chased all the city employees out of here. And I wanted to
He'll
comment-
cover
I wanted
them
to
all.
comment on the-
I'm going to add time back on for
on
you.
the raise, and I wanted all the city employees that know are here, and the directors to know that I, as a citizen, and I can speak for my condo association as well, because I've spoken to many of them, we appreciate the city employees. I commend the council for your action tonight, for what you did for the city employees, and I wish more of them would have been here to hear it from a citizen rather than just.
So Alex, that's your marching orders tomorrow at lunch. Tell everyone.
I also want to commend, briefly, I want to commend the commission on the discussion about Androlopoulos. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Took me 3 years, that's right.
But I agree, I don't think we want to spend a penny in buying it. And with all due respect, Vice Mayor, the idea about the city entering in the middle of discussions if somebody else wants to buy the name from them, I think that's a terrible idea. And Mr. Androlopoulos can either keep his name on the park or decide that he doesn't want his name on the park. But I'm glad you took the action that you did. Finally, I may have to ask for an extension of my 3 minutes if I can, because I want to comment on Commissioner Dubinsky's comments about the sand thing. First of all, I've done a lot of research on this. I have a copy of the ordinance. I've read the ordinance. I'm sorry, it's not called an ordinance. The county, whatever the county calls it. If it is, I guess it is an ordinance. Okay, a year ago, and I complained to our county councilman, Matt Reinhardt, at that time about exactly what Commissioner Dubinsky talked about. And he originally said he didn't want to use the word extortion, but I will use the word extortion because that's what the county is doing to us. And I want the commission to know, many of my residents, as many of you know, I'm the immediate past vice president of my condo association, decided not to run again. But I'm still kind of doing government affairs type things and coordinating with county government and so forth and so forth. So I did the research on the ordinance. I read the ordinance. I called Matt Reinhardt last year, and he said, yes. He says, you're right. He says, you'll be happy to know we've already brought it up in council, and we've extended it. I wasn't able to get it eliminated, but we have deferred it for a year, so you don't have to comply until December 31st next year, 2024. Well, now we're coming up to 2024, and now the county staff is getting active and letting other condo associations know that, hey, this is due and it's still the law, you still got to know. I personally spoke on a Saturday about 3 weeks ago to Councilman Reinhardt and said, hey, these guys are extorting us. I'm going to tell you right now, it's the county extorting us, Matt. What are you going to do about it? And he said, Ed, he says, let me know about this again and explain it to me. I explained it to him. He seemed to understand, and he said he'd get back to me, and he has not. Now, Matt's a friend. I consider Matt a friend, so I'm not trying to be negative about him. Sometimes city officials, county officials, they get busy. Maybe you forgot about me, maybe you didn't. However, at the same time, at the urging of my condo association, they wanted to do something about this, and they were they call the city, call our councilman, call the mayor. I said, hey, folks, back off a minute. This is not a city issue. The city can't do anything about it. It's a county issue. And I explained to them what it was, and the agreement was they asked me if I would write a letter on behalf of the association explaining it to the county council. I'm sorry I didn't bring my file with me today that I could have showed you a copy of the ordinance, given you a copy of it, and some of the backup. I didn't have the legislative intent. But in any case, I did write that letter, and it only went out in the last couple of days, and it was sent to the county chairman and each one of the county councilmen, including Matt Reinhardt, explaining to them the situation that we believed that they were extorting us, and we would like a discussion at county council to eliminate that ordinance since it didn't make any sense where there were seawalls. I was very polite in my letter. As a matter of fact, as a draft, people that I had known in city and county government, I gave them a copy of the draft that I wrote and said, what do you guys think? Am I being polite? Am I being, too nasty? Whatever the case. So a couple of these people gave me some advice, one of the pieces of advice was, instead of asking to eliminate it, why don't you maybe ask that it be deferred again? Because it appeared that there's some backroom discussions about deferring it. But none of this is out in the front, and the county staff can only do what county staff does. So I'm sorry I didn't bring that file with me. If I had, I would have asked that my letter, or the HOA's letter, because the condo HOA president signed it, along with 50 of our 136 residents signed it, and sent it to the county chairman and each one of the county councilmen. And I was going to call Matt Reinhardt to follow up to make sure he got it now. But I would have asked that my letter be read into the file at council, or that I make a copy of that letter available to each of the commissioners and the city manager, and certainly you making it available to council. And then join us as condos, as condo associations in the city of Daytona Beach Shores, and say, and get on county's rear end and say, no, these people are right. We represent probably the majority of condos in Daytona Beach, or in Volusia County, along with Daytona Beach and Ormond. And county council, you need to get on the stick. So I encourage that the commission join us. I would like to ask what is it that I can do, or how can I make that letter that we sent available? I can send it electronically to Kurt, or I can send it individually, I guess, to each commissioner and you, Mayor. But I used the word extortion because that's what they're doing. And in my letter, I tried to be polite and say, look, I understand the reason for this might have been in Ormond Beach, where there are dunes and there are not seawalls. It makes sense to recover that and to put protection against the dune about vegetation. But where there are seawalls, it makes no sense at all because, as the commissioners mentioned, they'll just be washed away. So I'm sorry I took.
Oh, no,
much
I gave you
longer
the
than
extra
my
time
3
because I
minutes.
took some of yours.
I'm sorry, my wife always tells me that I speak loudly to begin with, and when I get passionate about something, I tend to raise my voice, and she says, be careful, people think you're yelling right now. I
No, we
said,
appreciate
I never
it.
yell, I'm just such a nice guy. But I would hope maybe some of my other condo representatives here would also take the opportunity to mention what their thoughts are.
I know from St. Croix, I was copied on, so if you want to do that going forward, I know the letter that Ms. Holman, I'm sorry if I don't want to, sent to Matt Reinhardt, you know, I did receive a copy of that, so.
Marsha and I have talked, she was one of the people that had to draft my letter when it went out.
Okay, well, thank you for coming up today, and, yeah, it is a very big concern, and I will follow up with Matt Reinhardt as well.
Thank you, Mayor, thank you, Commissioners, for indulging me.
Thank you, Ed.
Anyone else have anything that they want to say? As always, come on up, Sandy. You know, this is the time, if you don't have the form to fill out, I still want to hear from you, so feel free to come up.
This is about 2 items ago. So I'm Sandy Cook from Realty Pros at 3118 South Atlantic. It's about the condo, to your point, Madam Mayor, about the buildings. Each of them do have a very nice community room, but they don't have the parking to accommodate the collaborative group. We tried that once at DiMucci. I was the door person, and it was really, it's the parking. So, and I don't know, I know Reverend Bob is not here. I like the idea of having it not here at a neutral site. So maybe the drive-in church, they have a beautiful fellowship hall that would accommodate, and maybe that's the place, because every meeting will not really need the help from a city official. They'll want to talk about their service reports, how they're funding their, and that's really not any of the city staff or the council, the commission's business. So that's all.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sandy. Okay, anyone else have anything to say? If not, oh, yeah, that's right, you
I
had
did
your.
have one more thing, and I didn't know if they were gonna release it today or not, but they apparently did. Peck Park will be open on Saturday.
Yay, good job.
Everything is restored except the bathrooms, and the only issue with the bathrooms is they don't have power, so they're gonna have some sort of portable restrooms for visitors to use over the holiday weekend, but that park will be open
Great.
Starting Saturday morning.
Great, that's wonderful news, thank you. I've seen them working on it, and hopefully Frank Rendon will be next.
Fingers
I
crossed.
mean, it's open, but everything restored. All right, if there's nothing else, then the meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you to those that joined online.
Signature.